Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Being a marketer's no sweat. You just have to manage dozens of channels, launch hundreds of campaigns, score thousands of leads, and okay, fine. It's a lot of sweat. Unless you have HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools to help you do all that and more. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey y'all, I'm JJ.
Hey guys, it's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like, it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Hey, fuckers. Don't forget to check out Don't Blame Them on Wednesday on Patreon, as well as our Cut for Time clip on Friday on Patreon as well. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Don't Blame Me. Today, my guest is Natasha Chandel. Oh, I did it right.
Yeah.
Did I practice? I did practice. From the Kinda Dating podcast.
Thank you for having
Oh
me.
my God. Thanks for being here. I just listened to you with our good friend Shireen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a deep episode.
Yeah.
That got fucking real.
No, and I love it. Also, I just love... I mean, you guys all have great voices, but like Shireen's voice, because I know when you listen to someone you know talk on a podcast, I can just like picture her face, and I also picture her, like her uncomfortable face, which is our favorite
I try
voice.
to make her uncomfortable as
all
much
the
as
time.
possible.
Yeah. It's a great face. We actually have a video of that one. Like,
Oh
we
my
have
God.
it. So
I need to watch.
Yeah, it's very. She gets into it.
She does, and she just has her voice is so expressive, and it matches how expressive her face is.
Yeah.
And so there's just a lot of like. And I love it. And I love it.
It's
I was
so
just,
true.
yeah, it was a good time. I was laughing and enjoying it. And then, you know, obviously not the parts that were fun, like the parts that were funny.
I was listening to yours. It's so awesome. I was
well,
like, oh man, I
thanks.
get to be on this show. I was like, okay.
Get excited to hopefully help people with their lives.
Yes.
But even if we fuck it up, it's okay. Because they can't blame us.
Yeah, it's not our fucking fault.
People.
Yeah.
Don't blame anyone else. I mean, I blame lots of people for lots of things, but this time we're not taking accountability. Oh no, maybe this is just aligned with my life then. Oh, it's fine. Well, if you guys are new here and you have an issue and you want to call into the podcast, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. And international callers, you can send us a voice memo at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. And FYI, I just need to clarify, because a lot of people are confused about voice memos. And I will say, some of you who are confused have been DMing me. Okay, no, you guys kind of really have no excuse because you're Australian. So it's not like there's a language barrier here at all. Voice memo on your phone, Android, it can be an iPhone, anything like that. Go to a voice recording app and you just record your voice. Then you email it to us. And if you're going to send it, like you think you're just going to do it via Instagram and it's more than like one like quick little like if it's not like a yes or no question and it has lots of paragraphs, call in.
Yeah, I'm not going to read that.
I'm not going to read it either. It's a lot of words. Also, I'm not good at scrolling and remembering where I'm at because there's no little like markers.
Totally. Yeah.
So like I can't follow. So call us.
Hi, Megan. I'm going to try to keep this short, but it's just a lot of shit right now. Basically, I'm in Washington. I am almost 27, and I am a teacher. And so I just found out, well, I didn't just find out, but a few months ago, I found out that I was laid off from my position, and it's effective the next school year. So I'm finishing out this school year, and my paycheck as well as my insurance will carry me through to the end of August. But after that, I have a couple of options. I'm looking for jobs. I'm looking for, a decent paycheck and to hopefully keep some kind of insurance. But I might have to substitute teach, which means I don't have insurance. And I may potentially have to move back in with my parents, which is an option because my parents are great and supportive and they will help me out however I need to. And I know I'm lucky for that. But it's really scary and it's really stressful because I would like to stay on my own and I would like to support myself. And really the only thing that's kind of helping me through this entire thing is the fact that I'm going to be starting my master's degree in September and I'm kind of switching career paths. So being laid off was not the worst thing in the world. It's just kind of really stressful and really shitty. And I'm sitting in kind of a lot of shame for potentially having to deal with all of this. And if I have to move back in with my parents, like I will feel really shitty and it's really scary and just I don't know. But I mean, there's options and I'm currently, applying for jobs and trying to figure it out and trying to get my shit together. But I can't shake the feeling of, worst case scenario, I might have to move back home for a couple years. And I know that it's temporary and I know that I'm lucky and I know all of these things and it's societal pressure of what success means. And, it's really shitty that, it costs so much to live on your own, but I can't shake the fact that it feels really shitty and I don't really know what to do. And the fact that I might be without insurance, and I've, birth control and prescriptions to pay for, and I don't know how that works without insurance. And if things are going to be super expensive and like, I can't even begin to list off all of the things that I'm stressed out about. And just if you have any words of advice or comfort or anything, I would really appreciate it. I know that it's really just going to take time to figure it out, but it's really, really hard and I'm really anxious.
That's our 3-minute cutoff.
She got the 3-minute cutoff. Yep.
Oh, that's a tough situation.
Yeah, I think you're doing a very good job of therapizing yourself in the call. But I mean, I think it's, I'm not going to tell you that it doesn't suck because it does. And I personally love to be validated, as my therapist says. She's like, 100%. You just live for it. I was like, no, I live for validation. That's just all I want. Is I want someone to be like, I see you and I see how you feel, and I don't need to make you feel better, but like totally. you're good in feeling that.
It's like, also annoying just when somebody doesn't tell you. Like if you're you had a shitty day, and somebody's like, no, you didn't. Like, no, I fucking did. Yeah. Like, and it's okay to say, yes, some things happen that are shitty.
Yeah, and it's not going to be shitty forever. I think. Like you said, like you do want to take a pivot in your career. And this is probably, as much as like no one wants this kind of happen, it did happen at like a time that is just it's going to work better with your life. And also I think you are lucky and you are right that you're aware of how lucky you are that you're in a situation that you do have parents to fall back on and all of that stuff. I think when it comes to like the pride with it and like that you are correct in like the media's idea of like what success is. And I wouldn't even just say the media, but it's also like what your friends talk about and what you see from your peers. I don't have a stable job at all. Like when you're an actor, like I constantly am having insurance and then not having insurance and having to pay for my own insurance and do all of those other different things that like there isn't a steady. So I understand that when you compare it to people who have seemingly had a very steady life. But then the more I even talk to my friends who have normal corporate jobs, like, no, fuck, I got fired. Like I like have been crashing on my parents' couch, but no one advertises that kind of stuff. Of course,
nobody's, That's not the Instagram story that people are posting.
I'm sure you're not even doing that either. So I would try and, as much as like, I hate being like, well, whatever journey you're on, like it's going to happen. Like everyone goes through shit. I think like my opinion in the situation is I think the most important thing for you to invest your money in, it would be health insurance. I think that like you're talking about, like you have prescriptions, you have birth control, like also same, have to have health insurance because my prescriptions are insanely expensive without it.
But if she's going to be a student, she can get insurance through school.
In the in between.
Yeah, and it's her insurance stops in August. She starts school in September.
Oh.
And also, if you have like breaks in employment, then you can get COBRA as well, which is an insurance thing.
Yeah.
So
the COBRA is fucking expensive sometimes. But I would just, I would say to her, I'm like, girl, you're 27. I'm like, shit happened. This is the time. I'm like, you're not 50 with 2 kids or 3 kids. And, I'm like, unfortunately, we're sort of that generation that got, post-recession life where everything is unstable. But if it makes her feel better, I was 31. I was at MTV for 4 years. I was like the one person who knew like everybody's job. So I was like, I'm always going to be here. I got laid off. And I remember that whole feeling of like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I suck. Was it me? What's everybody going to think of me? And there's always that like weird shift. And I remember it was thankfully like my mom who was like, you weren't happy, 1. And 2, like, why don't you use this opportunity to do the thing you really wanted to do, which at the time was I was in New York and I wanted to move to LA. So she was like, you have severance and somebody's basically paying for you. Why don't you just move now instead of twiddling my thumbs in New York? And I was like, you're right. And so I sold everything in 2.5 weeks. I moved to LA and I'd been in New York forever. So, and I came and then like, that weird feeling of uncomfortableness and like what's going to happen pushed me in a way to reach out to people that like I didn't know would eventually end up helping me. And in 3 weeks I got a job and then I was at Fox and then I went to Disney and it's like shit works out, you know? And like we always think in the moment it's not, but it's like life is always going to be like ups and fucking downs and you sometimes got to like ride it. But I also don't think like what you said, right? You got to feel shitty and you got to allow yourself to feel shitty. And even if that's like feeling that shame, but then also like don't dwell in it and don't be like, this is the only reality. Because in her situation, it seems kind of like you got college coming at you, the thing you really want to do. And then most people when they're like doing a master's or something, take up another part-time job. And there's no shame in that at all. Like that's how people fucking survive.
And there's so many career pivots in general that I think like this is something that like you said, like you don't have anyone to support and you're lucky that you have people who can put a roof over your head if it comes down to that. And I think like as much as you can like swallow that pride and then think about how much money do I want to spend on my pride and how much money do I want to spend on things that are actually tangible and that I need, because like to save face and to get an apartment and potentially like rack up credit card debt that you don't really have like a guarantee to pay off immediately. Also, how much of that is the appearance to you? Like, do people even need to know that you moved back in with your parents? Like, if you don't feel comfortable saying that, but like if you're going to spend all this money to get your own apartment and your own place that you really can't afford, how are people even going to know that you did that? Like, I think I think as much as like we're like, oh, I feel embarrassed about other people seeing all this stuff. I think it's also just knowing that like you don't need to be ashamed or embarrassed of yourself. And so much of like this appearance we try and keep up, nobody else gives a shit as much as we give a shit about like what we think like, oh, I think everybody's paying attention and cares about this.
I'm always like, people go off and they go back and live their own lives and nobody gives a flying fuck what you're going through. And can I be honest? I always tell people, if I had the opportunity to live with my parents, I would totally be living with my parents and saving money. Like I would have no ego about it because, but my family's in Canada. So like example, when I got laid off, I was like, oh fuck, I have nowhere else to go. I got to figure this out. And you know, but again, I always think like necessity is a mother of invention and it kind of forces you to think outside the box in a way. And you're lucky. You're lucky you have a home, enjoy it. Trust me, the people who are, if anybody's judging you, it's because secretly inside their parents are mean to them.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
And they're like, my fucking parents would never do that to me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I would be that. I'd be like, oh, I'm fucking jealous. I want Can I live with your parents? Will they make me dinner? Will your mom do my laundry?
Totally.
No, that's a lot. Will your dad do my laundry?
Yeah.
Will your mom mom help me with my taxes?
Can I save this much money on rent?
I've got friends who live with their parents and they have had like relate partners or friends who've been like, come on, like move it on your own. They're like, first of all, I'm saving so much more money. I'm going to be able to probably buy a house before like you are able to, like any of that stuff. I think there's any of that shame, like you said, it's definitely misdirected in like a, wow, we would all be kind of envious and jealous of that. And also know that like as much as you don't have to feel like ashamed of it, it's also if you feel better and you feel more confident in not necessarily telling people, you don't owe anyone an explanation about anything. You don't have to talk about it. But if you feel empowered to talk about it and you want to talk about it with your friends and like let them in and let them know, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at how supportive and how people also probably open up with like the other struggles and shit that they've been through.
Yeah, I moved in with my parents in between me like finishing school and then moving out here. And I did have a little bit of shame, but I was like, I need to save money before I move. So it was the first thing for me.
Does it matter in the big scheme now? You're like, whatever, man. It was like a tiny blip. I live with my parents, and for people who like, I don't know about you, Megan, but for like me, because I don't get to see them. Whenever I get to spend time, I'm like, man, I don't know how much time any of us have. Yeah, just cherish it.
Well, on to the next one. It's a really smooth segue.
Hi, Megan, Melissa, and guest. I am calling in because I have an issue with my fiance's mom. So backstory, my fiance and I have been dating for 10 plus years, met in high school. He is the best person I've ever met. I love him more than anything. So excited about our wedding, but his mom is making it harder and harder to get excited about. A little backstory about his family. His mom is insanely Catholic, like so much so that I am having a Catholic wedding ceremony just to kind of, not to please her, but just to kind of get her on my good graces, and because I know she would probably flip if I didn't. But she keeps bringing up us having children. Now, this is not the first time she has started bringing this up. She's been bringing this up, I mean, even when we were in college, about asking when I wanted to have kids and how excited she was to be a grandmother. And I've kind of told her each and every time, the same exact time, I'm not having kids anytime soon. I probably won't have kids until I'm in my 30s. And I'm 25 right now. So that's about 5-6 years, depending on, you know, what happens in our lives. Anyways, it hasn't been as bad until we got engaged. Every time I see her, it's the first question she asks me. So, do you want to have kids yet? Are you excited about having kids? When are you going to have kids? I can't wait to be a grandma, etc. To the point where I have told my fiance to tell her to kind of pump the brakes because it's really stressing me out. I've told her multiple times that I don't want to have kids anytime soon. My fiance and I have both agreed that we wanted to wait to have children, but she keeps harping and keeps bringing it up no matter how many times I can scream it at her, not scream it actually, but like really wanting to scream it at her that I don't want to have kids yet. My fiance and I don't want to have kids yet. So I guess my question is, how do I mean, I've said it nicely before, but how do I really kind of harp home this, that I'm not having kids anytime soon and she needs to stop without being a total bitch? Thanks so much. I love you guys. Be as brutal as you want. I don't care. Rip me to shreds or not. I don't care. But just help. I'm tired of getting asked if I'm going to have a child when I might not even want one. So thanks so much. Bye.
I feel so bad for you. This woman seems... like, I don't know how, like you said, like, I mean, I haven't actually screamed at her. I don't know how you haven't yet. I would lose my mind.
I was going to say, like, I so empathize mostly because I'm like, welcome to every brown girl's family.
But you guys were talking about that on the episode I listened to.
Totally. It's like all day, every day. When are you getting married? When are you having kids? I want kids. Or basically them being like, they want to be grandparents or they want kids around. You know, like how your life sucks about it.
Oh my God.
Constantly, can we set you up with somebody? And it never ends.
So what do you do?
I mean, I literally like just had a thing with my parents where they asked me to be on an Indian dating site called, this is going to, okay, I know you think that your issue with your mother-in-law is terrible. I just want to put this in perspective, okay? There's a website called shadi.com, which literally translates to marriage.com. Oh my God. And my family has known since I was very young, I don't believe in marriage. I've been very upfront about it. I'm like, I want a partner. I don't believe in marriage. So and to get a profile on that account is two ways. Either you put one up or your family puts one up. And it's called a family run account because in Indian culture, parents are so fucking overbearing.
Wait, so they could be talking to someone else who's also running a family run account. And then both of you are like, I don't want to be here.
It's happened to me before where my parents, against my will, put up a picture of me and created an account, which was a family run account. And then made me go on a date with a guy that my dad was like, also, side note, my dad's an astrologer. Like he's an actual Indian astrologer.
Wait, I want to meet your dad.
Oh my God. And so he found my astrologically perfect match on Shaadi.com on a family run account.
I might be on your dad's side. Were you guys not super compatible?
But here's the thing. No, because he fucking had the same name as my brother, and all I could think was fucking my brother.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And my brother's tall, and he's an engineer, and this guy was tall, engineer, and had the same name as my brother. And I was like, guys, no. And then like we ended up talking because his family was running the account, my family was running the account. So I just want to put in perspective about overbearingness, you know? And so just now, they still tried to convince me. And so my dad the other day was like, you know, I just want you to think about it. What are you doing with your life? Let me put up some picture. Let me feel.
Oh my God.
And then I was like, no, Dad. And like I've gotten to a point where I've scared them. So they know not to say these things to me because I just like, I'll just go like, I see red. And that's just my way of getting them to. And then, so he knows that he can't convince me. So then he got my mom, who's like my best friend. And the next day, and she knows, don't tell her what to do. Yeah. So my mom is like, you know, have you given any thought to maybe what your dad is saying? And I was like, yep. Nope. And it becomes a point, but I get it. I'm saying all this because like I so empathize with what she's going through, that constant. And so then I put up an Instagram story asking like a poll and just being like, how many people are being pressured into shit that they don't want to be doing? And it was overwhelmingly everybody. Yeah. And then I realized, oh shit, I'm not alone in this. And everybody from all cultures are getting pressured into getting married and kids. And then it's always the next thing, right?
Yeah.
After your kids are done, when are you having the second one? Oh, okay, well, like when are you getting a house? Or when do you, I don't know when the fuck it ends. Yeah. And people started telling me, they were like, it never ends. Like my married friends were like, Tash, just because you get married doesn't mean it'll end. Then the kid thing happens and that doesn't end. So there is some point that I guess you just have to sort of fucking let go and put down a boundary and maybe not saying like, hey, we don't want to have kids, but saying how it makes you feel. Yeah. That's what I had to do with my mom. I just eventually said, hey, Ma, like I had to send her a text because I get angry.
Oh yeah.
Speak.
I understand that.
So I was just like, Ma, you guys saying this keeps making me feel like I'm not, like I'm some fuck up child for you. And I just really need you to trust me that in my current state, it's just not what I'm into. Yeah. And I don't want to be leading somebody else on and wasting their time when I'm just not in that space at all. But I just basically told her how it makes me feel. Yeah. Then she tried to passive aggressive guilt me. She's like, she goes, okay, honey, I hear you. Thank you for relieving us of this guilt.
You're just like, for sure.
You're welcome. Literally, I was like, you're welcome.
That's funny.
Moving on, because I'm not going to play into this passive aggressiveness. Yeah. But at some point, you kind of have to put down. I think, I don't know how you feel about it, but
yeah. I mean, I think that makes sense though, because I think like even in related to anything else, I think when someone can say something to you and it comes from like such a place of love or compassion, but like the way that you process it and take it, you're like, I hear what you're saying. I know your intention is not to make me feel like a fuck up or make me feel shitty, but like it does. So what you're saying isn't helpful. This isn't like an encouraging, positive thing. This isn't like, oh, my parents really want or like anyone, they really want what's best for me. Like, wow, they're just so supportive. It's like, that's your goal, but like that's not how I'm taking it. And so if that's, let's talk about something else that could make me feel how you're trying to make me feel. This is such a more positive way of, I was just going to be like, just start explicitly talking about your sex life. Like, so you're trying doggy style and his mom would just like, oh, and then we'll never want to talk about it again. Like cause that's the thing I find with my God, it's so funny. My friends who are pregnant and they are like my female friend, they're the ones carrying the babies. But they were talking about how funny it is when they were like trying to get pregnant, how everybody everybody's so involved. And I asked them, I was like, is it like super weird when people keep asking about it? Because like, I like love them. I was like, all I can fucking picture is you and your husband fucking. Like, I don't want to think about it. Whenever's like, how is it going? Are you trying? I'm like, you're having sex. Like, I don't like, I love you guys, but like, I don't want to like think about it and picture it. So like in my mind, I'm like, well, what if you really like people have this like massive separation when it comes to like, oh, like we're trying to have, like, we're not having sex. We're trying to have a baby. I'm like, it's the same fucking thing.
Yeah,
you're just like coming inside me and like, I'm not on birth control. Like this is it. So like, it's in my mind, I'm like, make it sexual. And then she'll be like, oh my God, it's like, Lord Jesus, like
she would be, especially if she's like mad Catholic. She's like,
can you imagine?
She's like premarital sex.
Exactly.
I thought for 10 years you guys have just been hugging.
Like just long extended eye contact. Like, oh my God.
It's just been sweet petting.
Oh yeah, but not more than 3 seconds. Like nothing. Oh my God.
That's funny.
So that was like my, like.
That's a good, that's also a great way.
Just making people uncomfortable because then it's like, oh fuck, like I don't want to like hear about this anymore.
Yes.
But also I think like this is obviously in a very different way because like I don't get it like in like like in real life, like from people, like, but if I post any picture of my boyfriend and I, it's like, oh my God, when are you guys getting married? Like when, and all of those questions. I'm like, first of all, like we're 25 and no matter where you live in the world, like sure, maybe people get like, I'm going to tell you, almost all of my fucking friends are single. If I got married now, everyone would be like, what are you doing? Like, we don't even have boyfriends or girlfriends and you're like getting married.
Totally.
It's like just on a different like level, but like I getting that pressure and the one you respond to one person, you have that out there. So it's not like, oh, she's never talked about it. It's like with your mother-in-law, like she's heard you say this before. No matter how many times you say it, your answer isn't changing. So I'm also kind of a believer of being like, if I've said it once, you're going to ask me about something again. I'm just going to pretend I didn't hear you. And I would just change the subject. And it's like, it's not that you're not answering her question because she can't be like, well, you didn't tell me. It's like, well, no, like, you know what my answer is and I'm going to come to you. And even if like it's saying one more time, it's like, I want to let you know that like you said, this makes me feel because I think it's like, it makes me so excited that you really want to have grandkids and we're really excited to eventually have kids. But I'm just letting you know that like right now, that's not where we're at. And it makes me feel like a fucking like human gestational tank. Like it doesn't make me feel love and appreciate it. It makes me feel like I'm just kind of being used for something else later down the road. And I want to be able to come to you when I'm pregnant. And I want this to be something that like we can talk about and share. But like right now, I just feel like I'm constantly disappointing you and it's making me feel bad about myself when I feel great about myself and where I'm at. But now you're making me think that I shouldn't feel good. And I like love you and I think you're amazing. But I'm just going to say now, this is the last time we're going to talk about this. And when we're ready to have kids, we're going to let you know. If you don't hear anything, we're not ready yet. And I'll come to you. But like the next time that you ask about it, I don't want to come across as a bitch, but or rude. Maybe she'll die. Like Satan will come down if you say the word bitch. The B word. And just be like, I'm not going to talk about this again. So if you bring it up, don't take this the wrong way and don't take it as me being rude. But I just need to protect myself and my self-worth and my self-esteem. And I'm just not going to answer. And I'm just going to change the subject. Yeah. And eventually, I think, hopefully, she'll like get bored.
I'm just going to say, like, don't get pressured by it.
Yeah. If it's what
life
you want,
to live. Yes.
Have a kid, like have it when the time feels right and that's what you want. Completely. But like that pressure of everyone telling you to, I think it's like, that's the stuff that like, I mean, at least for me, like that's the stuff that stands in my mind is all these people commenting to me, telling me to get married. I'm like, yeah, no one I know in real life has ever been like, hey, you should get married now.
Nobody.
But I'm like, oh, it's a bunch of like 11-year-olds from Minnesota who are like, get married. And I'm like, maybe they're right. I'm like, well, none of my friends have been like, do you know what I mean? It's like this, it's this aspect that like we can kind of stick onto those things that also, I don't know, as humans, I think we're very good at like second guessing ourselves. And so when someone says something, you're like, oh, that's not what I wanted. You're like, oh God, and you spiral down that whole thing. But stay strong with it. Also know that your fiance, he's on your side, and then have him like also lay down the law with his mom.
Yeah, too. I think he's got to definitely say something because he can't be a pussy about it.
Yeah, and does he have like a brother who could like have a baby or something? So like take
somebody
the
else
pressure
take
off
it.
of you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good call. It's a good time.
Pass the buck.
Yeah. Well, let me know what happens. And if you do, I don't know what state you're in, but if it's legal to record people without their consent, I would love if you could record the first time you tell your mom, like really just like explicit shit, or your mother-in-law. That would make my fucking life. I would love it. I would just love to hear it. She just actually gets struck down by like, is it lightning that Satan has or fire? What does he have? Does he have?
I don't know, man. I'm brown. I don't know.
Oh, he strikes up though, right? Does he strike up because he's down there?
You're talking about Satan?
Yeah, doesn't Satan? Oh God, no, God is mad at you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, I think Satan, you just burn in hell. My little understanding of it is
Satan's there. So Satan's a big fan of me. Like I'm saying he's my hype
God
man.
would strike you down.
God would strike you down. Satan would welcome you with open arms.
Like, come on in with the threesomes. Have the threesomes
Come here, nasty bitch.
Here's a nice fireplace.
Oh my God, I'll meet you there. I will 100% meet you there. Should we go on to the next?
Hi, Megan. I am 24 years old, and I love your podcast, and I thought I would call in with my own issues. So I graduated from college 2 years ago, and my boyfriend and I have been dating for 4 years now. Once I graduated, I got a job in my hometown and ended up moving back home. However, my parents don't live in this house anymore. So because my job is really close, they allowed me to technically live at home, and I pay for some of the small little bills since I don't make that much money. But, it's great because I don't have to pay rent and stuff like that. So my boyfriend graduated a year after me and also got a job in a similar town, and we've been living together ever since. The reason why I'm calling is because they don't know that we live together in their house, because they would definitely not approve. My parents are very traditional and believe that me and my boyfriend should be married before we move in together. And we do want to be married, and we do want to be together, but we don't necessarily believe that we have to be married first. My parents are coming this summer to visit, and thankfully his friend has allowed him to crash at his place, and he will no longer be in the home when they come. But I do want to talk to my parents about me living with my boyfriend without their permission. Now, I'm really concerned about having this conversation because my parents are very protective and they control a big part of my life. Just as a little bit of backstory, they pretty much picked my major and pretty much picked the field that I work in. And I feel like I really don't have a lot of autonomy, and just the idea of sitting down with them and telling them that I want to live with my boyfriend and if there's something wrong with that really stresses me out. But at the same time, I don't want my boyfriend to feel like, upset at me, because he's so understanding and is so great, because he has been encouraging to me and so supportive during this time. But at the same time, I feel like I do need to stand up for our relationship. I just need some advice about how to go about this conversation, because I do want to still live at home with him, because it'll give us so much, like the ability to save money and not having to pay rent, and we still want to pay bills. It's not like I just want my boyfriend and I to freeload off of them. Like, we want to contribute to the household. We want to help with some of the renovations, because it is an older home, and we do have plans on like what we want to do with the kitchen and things like that. But I just need kind of advice on how to confront my very traditional and stifling parents, if you will.
Wait, so let me just get, she and him have been living in the parents' house with the parents there.
No, the parents aren't there.
Yeah, they have another place.
The parents pay for it,
like,
and they
is this
pay,
happening?
I'm assuming utilities is what they're paying.
Got it.
So they're both living there for free. I'm going to be honest with you, I think if you tell your parents, they're going to kick both of you out.
They're going to kick both of you out.
So I think you need to decide. And like, I live with my boyfriend, in sin. I mean, we already knew I was going, but so we live together, but and so I'm not saying that like, oh, you shouldn't live together. But I think at the end of the day, like, if you want to do something that is against your parents' wishes, you can't be financially tied to them, like in that. And we've had callers like that before, where it's like, I want my boyfriend to come over whenever, but I live with my parents and they don't like it. It's like, well, tough shit.
Totally. I agree.
I think like you have every right to want to live with your boyfriend. I think it totally, like, you don't need to be engaged. Clearly, like, I'm very on that side, but if that's the lifestyle and the life choice that you want to make, you also have to fund that and pay for that. And so am I telling you just to like lie to your parents? Yeah. Am I also saying
run that scam?
Run that fucking scam. First of all, you guys have it good.
Yeah.
You're saving money. But here's the thing though, I wouldn't get into renovating. I wouldn't do anything like that. No. I wouldn't give any sort of suspicion of like, where is she getting this like money and like who's doing this with her, anything like that. I would keep the lie fucking going, and then I would just save the money that you would put into renovations or do anything like that to then get your own place.
Yeah.
I would also change the locks, pretend someone broke in, and don't give your parents a new key.
Yeah.
Because that's my biggest fear is like, he's going to be there. Also, it should be like The Bachelor. Every night he packs his bags. So if they come, he can just like throw them out the fucking window and get out of there.
Yeah, like where's all his stuff? Is he moving like all his clothes to his friend's house and all his belongings that are at your house?
Like he needs to live like a squatter.
That's
there.
what I'm saying. Like, but when they come visit, like, does he not have stuff there?
I mean, I hope
and then they must have to hide it. I'm telling
Yeah.
this just sounds like such a low-key Indian girl move, because like this is the shit we had to pull. Like I was with my boyfriend 4 years. My parents didn't know till like the very end.
We've had callers call in like that. Yeah.
Because you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I agree with you. If you do want to have the talk, which I do think eventually you're going to have to, but then you have to go with the repercussions of that, or you have to be okay with the repercussion that they might just be like, get the fuck out of my house, or it's us or him. Like that might come down to it. So if you don't want to deal with that, definitely just keep it low key till what I did is you break your parents.
Yeah.
And you break their spirit by them thinking you have no hope.
Yeah.
And then
you're like, look who I found.
That's what I mean. Because now she's 24. So they're like, oh, she's got time. And fucking keep that lie going for a couple more years. And then they're like, oh shit, she's not finding it. Sure. Yeah. Whoever you have, you want to live with him? Okay, live with him.
I think that's a good call.
Yeah. Do they know that he exists though?
That's what I was going to say. I don't know if they...
Because if they know he exists,
they might be suspicious already.
They might be. And then if they are, you need to you fucking have to change the locks. Yeah. You have to make him like change up like the deodorant he wears. You need to like go in there with
wearing Dove baby powder.
You need to like vacuum everything. Like he needs to dye his hair your color and grow it out that length so they find hair. Like you have to fucking like hardcore ninja like Jedi mind trick this shit. Yeah. Otherwise, like it's gonna blow up in your face.
Or tell them and say we'll pay rent.
But you can't.
They're saying they're trying to save money. I know. It's like that's a hard position for him to be in, though, too, right? Because like he feels like he's got no
free
home.
Rent.
Yeah,
he's been there. You better shut up.
And it's a house.
Shut up.
It's
You're
a
right.
house.
You were fucking right.
Yeah.
Actually, you're right. I would just be like,
I bet they have a backyard.
Yeah. If he got mad at me, I'd be like, boo.
Yeah.
You gotta go.
Where are we gonna live?
Fuck out.
So, but I think it needs to be like this. Like you guys have like a really great. Like it is also kind of like, hot and sexy where it's like, ooh, we're being secretive. You have a really great thing happening right now, but like it's only going to be so great for so long. And I wouldn't say like don't enjoy it, but really use it as a stepping stone of being like, okay, we're getting away with this. It's like we're fucking getting away with murder. We have to fucking save money as fast as possible and get out of here because this is too good to be fucking true, and like it's gonna blow up in our faces.
Yeah.
So I think you need to like work as fast as possible.
I think they know.
You do?
Yeah, there's a good
They've
chance.
been dating for 4 years. She's been graduated for 2 years. He's been living there a year. Like, I think if they don't, they at least know that he's spending the night.
I was going to say, they
yeah.
definitely know. Yeah.
Yeah.
At that point, I'm like, what do you care after that?
Yeah.
Well, they're like paying for their sex pad. It's time for a break, guys, and we'll be right back. Okay, guys, we are back from our break, and let's hop into the rest of the calls.
I'm 18 years old, and my boyfriend is 21. He just turned 21. He has a best friend who was dating my best friend for the last year. They broke up a year ago, so they dated the first year of our relationship. It was really fun, and we did a lot of double dates, but since they've broken up, he still tags along with just my boyfriend and I. It's gotten to the point where I brought it up to my boyfriend about how I want a little bit more time, just him and I, and without having it as kind of like a group date and just kind of my boyfriend and I. My boyfriend doesn't think there's a problem with it. He thinks it's fun when his friend comes. He thinks that we do have enough alone time, and he thinks he would be mean if he brought it up to his friends. His friend kind of knows that it bothers me because he's texting my boyfriend stuff like, I don't know if I should come if she's there and stuff like that. I don't want to make her mad. It's not that it makes me mad. I do love his friend. I just want more time just us. He literally comes to all of our dinners, all of our movie dates. It doesn't seem to bother my boyfriend or his friends, and neither of them see a problem with it. So I really need advice on how to bring it up again to him. I've brought it up about 3 times now, and it doesn't seem like anything
is going to change, but it definitely does really affect my happiness, and it makes me feel like I'm not as important as his friend. I want us to be equal, but he sees his friend 7 days a week, and he sees me usually 3. And even those 3 days, his friend has to be there.
Wow.
Yeah, that's like the epitome of a third wheel.
Yeah. Like, I think you're the third wheel.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Like, I think, like, yeah. Wow, that's odd. I mean, I've definitely, like, they also broke up. That was the part that, like, so him and his ex-girlfriend, who you guys used to hang out with, broke up a year ago. So they dated a year before. So, like, I would think in high school, when my boyfriend and I broke up, like, I definitely invited myself to, but like, I invited myself to everything that my best friend and her boyfriend did. Mm-hmm. And she was like very nice about it. He was even nicer about it. He was like, yeah, for sure, the more the merrier. And she's like, can you like not be around all the fucking time? But it was me. I was the one instigating it. And you know, like, it wasn't like they were being like, come on it, like all the time.
And why were you doing that?
Well, because I was newly single and like hella fucking lonely, but it didn't like last that long. Like, it was one of those things that it was kind of like, it was the end. I think it was, no, I don't know. It was some point in time where I was just hanging out with them a bunch. But it didn't last. It was kind of like, oh, I was really sad about my breakup. And like, it's when you're young and you're sad about your break or whatever, you want to hang out with your friends. If your friend is a boyfriend, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to hang out with you guys for a couple weeks. But like, that seems
like it's ongoing.
Yeah. And they see each other 7 days a week.
Like, I'm definitely all for, like, I get the bromance thing because, like, you know, dudes get like that, girls can get like that. But there definitely is like a little, if he's coming to every
like, do you guys
movie,
have sex?
date and dinner,
He's
like
sitting
I'm
in the
saying.
room.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, does he watch when you fuck?
I was going to be like, if it was me, I'd just embrace it and invite him.
Shut up. Wait, that's actually the way to get your boyfriend. Unless they've got like a romance thing in your boyfriend.
Yes.
But if your boyfriend's like super, super, super hetero, like that's the way you get him. Be like, you know what? Like, maybe we invite him to like do like some other stuff with us.
Since you enjoy him being around so much.
He's like, never fucking mind. You never see him again.
Yeah.
You never see that guy ever
Totally.
again.
You know, if he's just going to be around, I feel like we should put him to use. Like, for the
100%.
movies, you know, maybe I'll make out with you for like fine to make out with him.
He can finger bang me while I hang out with you. Oh my God. I just love that. Just making this, the theme of this episode is like how to get what you want. Make people so uncomfortable that you trick them into it. Don't say how you really feel. That's not working, clearly.
Not at all.
Clearly. This is why people call girls crazy, because we say how we feel, then you don't listen to us. And they're like, well, fuck, now I have to come with an elaborate fucking scheme.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Or, you know what? Try to set him up with some other girl.
Yeah. That's a good call.
Try to find him some other date. Because, I mean, there's Tinder and shit. There's lots going on. Convince him of that. Get him out of your hair.
And if you guys are having sex, this is going to be classic, like crazy female. I think you need to like, your boyfriend is having his cake and eating it too. I think it can be like, you know what? Like, I don't know. I don't really feel, if he's like, you sleep over there or whatever, and like maybe they're roommates or whatever. And you're like, I just like don't really feel in the mood. Like tonight, it doesn't really that. Like, make it be like, no, you can't hang out with me and your bro
and keep doing this,
all the fucking time. And then like, be like, oh, we're going to come home. We're going to have sex. You're like, so we're just friends because I like I hate the word foreplay, but whatever. Like, especially like female foreplay or whatever, it doesn't just start with like making out or whatever. Like, I need to be in the mood mentally. If I'm not in the mood mentally, and if that means we're like fucking watching like super bad with your bros, and you guys are all like smoking out of a 6-foot bong, like, you know what? I'm not thinking can't wait to bone my boyfriend later. Like,
completely
romantic date, like something that has, and not even necessarily like, I don't know, like just in a way that like you can still be flirty and like sexy when it's just you and him, because like I'm sure at least I'd feel like a fucking idiot trying to be sexy in front of like my boyfriend and his friend.
Yeah.
Like, your girlfriend, she's trying so hard. You're like, duh, okay, yeah. I'm like, ugh. God.
I mean, it's sweet that that you guys are being nice to him, but it does seem like a tad much.
But why does he want to be there?
But he's also said like, I don't want to come. It would be weird. And the boyfriend's like, no, come.
Are they in love?
Are they having issues? Like, as in maybe the boyfriend doesn't want to be alone with her. I don't want to put that idea in your head, but maybe that's something to ask. Like, what's really going on?
Yeah, because it's odd. If you feel uncomfortable, you've made it clear you're uncomfortable. Your boyfriend's friend has said that like he also can sense that it's a little bit uncomfortable, and your boyfriend's like, no, we're all good. Like, why is he on his friend's side, not yours? Like, why isn't he backing that up?
You know, maybe like coming up with some compromise. Like maybe he comes out one day and then 2 days you guys have your own thing. Because there's got to be some balance to that. If he's there all the time, it's legit
weird. And maybe it's one of those things that like he invites. If I want to know how the plans are being made. Like, are you guys making plans and is then his friend going along and is your boyfriend then inviting him? Or are they making plans and then they're inviting you? Like maybe you just like, you don't instigate plans. You don't make plans at all. And then if your boyfriend's like, hey, we're going to come do this. Like we're all going to be doing this. Be like, no, I'm good. And then realize like, oh, he never asks you to hang out one-on-one because there are so many times that, like, I think this happens a lot with guys. We're like, no, I am doing that thing. And you're like, no, you're not. But I'm going to show you. You can't see it because when I tell you that, I'm just being an asshole. So like instead, I'm going to be like, oh no, I'm going to say no to these other things. And you're going to be like, oh, I guess maybe I am not doing that thing. Like maybe we're not hanging out alone because now I realize that the only time that you guys are hanging out alone, you're instigating it, or it's the end of the night after, after you've already hung out with his friends. And so if you don't give the opportunity, like put the ball in his court in the sense of being like, you also shouldn't be the one who has to like force him to want to hang out with you one-on-one.
Agreed.
And then he needs to also instigate it. And if he and then also if he like is fine with not, and like you realize that, I think you need to let them go live happily ever after.
At 21, he should be wanting to just bang you all the time. Like my boyfriend at that age was like trying to be alone with me. I was like, dude, like fucking kicking him away. Like let me breathe a little. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of strange that he's always. And I remember being like my, boyfriend's friends, or we were all so close. We all hung out, like the boys hung out with us all the time. But he also was like, all right, no, I want to be alone. Like so it's definitely something else I feel like there's something else going on.
I think so. Also because like your friend is a cock block in that age. Totally. At that age, it's like all about like, no man, don't fucking cock block me. Like, blah, blah, blah. So I have to say, don't have sex, withhold the sex. And not even in like, I'm not having sex, but just like being like, you know what? Like this, I'm not really in the mood because like, I don't know. I just felt kind of like one of the boys today. And make him, I don't want to say make him work for it, but like I think
make him realize
that he needs to make space for her.
And if he wants to make the effort, you need to see now if the relationship is where it's at and has progressed where it's at because of the effort that you've put in, or has he put in effort too?
Yeah.
And it's super hard as somebody who's a total control freak, and like I'm okay with putting in a lot of effort, and it's like I sometimes would rather put in effort and reap the benefits than not like have that, like there's my like Leo ego thing of being like, I don't want to feel rejected, so I'd rather make the plans versus wait for someone else to do it. But it's all that's going to do when you overcompensate for other people's like shortcomings. It's gonna come clean at the end of the day. Like it's exhausting. Like you can't eventually ever do that. Well, let us know what happens. I would love to know.
We definitely agree.
Yeah,
it's strange.
Yeah, and they might be in love. And if they are in love, I would love to. I would want to be part of the throuple. I think you have to suggest that, and then also, but imagine though, it's funny. You suggest that, and then like, he's like, yeah, for sure, and then you're like, oh my god, no, never mind. This is all I need to know. I'm fucking out. No, or you're into it.
I would be into it. Like I'm serious,
but I don't think she's into it.
No.
Also,
unless
her friend,
she's just not open to it.
But her friend used to date him, and then what if her friend is like, wait, so you guys are all dating now?
It's been a year.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and he's been around every time.
Yeah, I'm sure
as
a friend
well
is fine
make
with
it official.
Yeah. Oh my god, so
open
funny.
your mind
and all the other holes in your body because now you got 2 dicks.
Yeah.
Okay, is it time for the next one?
Hi, Megan. So I'm 19 and I'm actually from Germany, but right now studying in Poland. I'm studying medicine for the next 3 years here and then moving back to Germany. And I'm calling because at the beginning of my studies, I met this guy and we dated for like 2 months. And after we broke up, he was very, very hurt. He's a very emotional guy, and his best friend also was very jealous while we were together because he had the feeling that my ex-boyfriend didn't spend enough time with him. He spent too much time with me. And afterwards, we actually stayed friends for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then we went on a vacation with like 6 other friends. We went skiing. And after that, they didn't talk to me anymore. They talked about me to other people. And also the people that I met through them, because they already lived here a year longer than I did, they also stopped talking to me and the people from my school, from my university. They already have a lot of groups, and I have like 2 good friends here, but because of the breakup and what especially the best friend is telling about me, I have the feeling that I can't really get to know people because it just does not feel right to go up to them and say, hi, do you want to do something this evening? Or do you want to hang out sometime? It feels weird to me. And it's also not very easy for me because I'm living like 700 kilometers away from home now. I'm home every 4 weeks and I'm very close to my family. So that's also not very easy. And my question is, how can I cope with things like finding friends at university, even though already people heard a lot of stories behind my back? Or how do I cope with the situation with my ex-boyfriend and his best friend? And yeah, it would be great if you could give me some advice about that. I love your podcast. That's why I'm calling in and wanting your advice. And thank you for helping me.
I mean, my first theory is this best friend either is in love with you or is in love with your ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, he's a dick.
Yeah, this is like... Dick. I think also, as much as like gossip and all of that stuff like that, it feels really isolating and it like really, really hurts. Also, just try and put yourself in the position of thinking, like, I've definitely had people who like gossiped and told me about like shit about other people that I'm like, oh, why are you fucking telling me? Like, I don't care. But like usually if someone's got, you're like, oh, smile and nod. So I think like regardless of the fact that like he's told all of these people, if there's a couple of people in that friend group that you've actually felt really close to, like know that they probably don't give a shit. Like, I think there's a lot of like saving face of awkwardness that because those friendships are a little older, that they're not going to be like, why are you gossiping, man? But like it's in one ear out the other kind of shit. Yeah. So I wouldn't stress too much about that. I've dated, and I said this on the podcast before, I did my freshman year. I like met a guy at orientation he was like a senior or junior. And we started dating like literally like day 3 or 4 of my freshman year. And so that's how everyone knew me. So like I was introduced and I like, this was like, oh, this girl's dating him and him. And by the time that we broke up, I was like, oh my fucking God. Like I don't have like, people already only know me as your ex-girlfriend. And you also have seniority here. Like you have all these friends. Like it felt awkward and it felt weird to like make new friends. But that's when I just like switched and went to a different frat. And like, as much as it feels sucky and again, like the breakup or whatever, that you like all those friends and you invest that time and that energy, that doesn't mean that those people aren't going to be your friends later on. But take like a solid step and break away and find some people who don't necessarily know him that well. Find some people that you can have those new relationships with, even if they knew him and they knew that you dated, that they don't have like, oh, I have this loyalty to him that I can't talk to you in that way. You know? Yeah, no, totally. I'm also sort of sensing with her that this might be about something deeper for her. I think it's like she's away from home. So there's like a lot of that insecurity that's just like natural that's building up. So I think like she might be telling herself a story that's not reality. Yeah. Like nobody likes me. They've heard all this stuff. But it seems like just go take the shot, you know, of like going up to those other people and being like, hey man, you want to hang out this weekend or whatever. If you notice that it's like a continuous pattern, don't take the truth as like a bad thing. Take it like the truth is a gift. You found out that those aren't the right people for you and move on. Like, but the big thing is like, don't give somebody else the power to take away enjoyment and joy in your life. That's the part you control. Yeah. You don't control what any fucking dick, because he's literally a dick, does out there. But you control how you react to it. So like, don't give him that fucking power. He's a douche. Yeah, and it vets those people. Like if those people are going to like hear some lame gossip and be like, oh yeah, I'm not going to speak to her anymore. I'm like, cool, you didn't want to be that's what I'm saying. Those people anyway. Because like, that happened to me in high school too. Like my first boyfriend, I literally only dated him for a month and a half. And this kind of like this, I think she said 2 months, right? And he went around after that, like we didn't do anything because I was so young and like I wasn't allowed to go out or anything. So he ended up telling people he did a bunch of shit with me that he didn't do, like sexually. Oh, high school boys. Right? And I remember like suddenly half of the school stopped talking to me. Yeah.
And it was like, and he was, he was a white Italian kid and I'm Indian. And there became this race war that suddenly went on that like suddenly it became like like all my brown and black friends used to come up to me and say like, oh, so we're not good enough for you. And I'm like, huh? And then other girls, like his crew would say, oh, he's with like a brown girl. Like it just became this weird thing.
Wow.
Yeah. And I remember
like, FYI, my parents don't let me out of the house. When did we have sex?
But I'm always like lucky because it got to me a lot at a point when I remember being like, oh my God, who are you people? Like I thought you were my friends.
Yeah.
But then I realized like, oh my God, it's so much better I know this shit about these people and I can move on. And then I found other friends that had heard stuff but didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And they like liked me for me and like they were like my band of brothers, to be honest with you. And it got me out of my shell and created a new set of friends. And then I ended up meeting my 4-year boyfriend as a result of that.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have happened if like I didn't get out of my circle and take the truth as like a gift. I was like,
those are those people who aren't listening. They're the quietest ones. The loudest ones, the ones who are like, oh, fuck you. You're a fucking slut. You're a fucking whore. It's
Completely.
all those things. And it feels all encompassing because like that's the loudest voices in the room. That's what you're surrounded by. But you're like, oh, if I take a step back out of this circle of people, I'm going to realize that there's all these other people around it. And I'm in this little pocket of people who care. And there's all these other people around who know, but don't believe it or don't give a shit.
Completely.
Like, and it's hard when it's those people who you also, it's betraying. It feels like, oh, these are the ones that I was friends with and I knew and I trusted. And you of all people shouldn't believe gossip.
Yeah.
Like it should be people who don't know me. And I think that's a lot of the time, like this is happening in person with you, but like you're not there. Like it's like this is like a hater in real life situation of being like when you confront people who like I'm very confrontational.
Yeah.
And I like if someone's talking shit, I'm like, hey, can we like I heard, and it's so much of, oh my God, fuck, I didn't know that you were gonna know that was me, and I also assumed that you would never approach me about it, and it completely blows up in their face.
Exactly.
And so I think like if you can take that, and I know that that's like so scary because you do feel like you don't have the upper hand here, but you also did mention that you had 2 really good friends already. 2 friends is more friends than I had in college.
Yeah.
Like I think that it can feel like your friend circle has like completely like, I don't know, like gone down to, by like 99%.
Totally.
And so it feels like your world is a lot smaller. But when you can invest in those people that like really, like you were saying with your friends, like the ones who actually really care about you and all of that stuff, I think you're going to realize that like, oh, when I can give them I can tell them like, cut the fucking bullshit. This is not true. This is not how it is. And then you ignore it, and it's going to suck for the next girl but it's going to move on. It's going to happen again. This happens all the time.
Totally. Just don't be the victim in the situation.
Yeah.
I don't like when people are pushing other people around. I'm like, don't let them.
Yeah.
And what's the worst that's going to happen? You don't have friends. Okay, fine. It's the same situation you're in now. You have 2 cool friends and that's all you need. Like, I agree.
They don't want a reaction that they want to see you break down. But the second you stand up for yourself, I think they're going to crumble. And if not, and they are still an asshole, then it's like, okay, cool. Like, I don't care. And then that's like, I don't give a shit.
And
like,
go have that talk in like a truly empowered way, whatever that is for you. I think you and I are like kind of stronger and tougher. So, it's like, excuse me, fucking say that to my face, you know? But if that's not your style, empowerment just comes from like owning whatever words it is you want to say to that person. So going up to them, and even if that's, hey, I'm hearing these things. Why are you saying this? You, like you said, he might just be so thrown that she even had the like balls to come up and say that he'll be like, oh, and then kind of challenge that. Like, dude, why are you saying this? You shouldn't be doing whatever is right for you.
Yeah. We're going on to don't blame them. This is when our listeners will call in with their own advice from previous episodes. So if somebody was like, oh, my boyfriend and I were squatting in my parents' house for 3 years, here's how we did it, they would call in and tell us.
I love it.
Give more.
We've got somebody from the episode with Art and Rose. We've got somebody that's calling. We had somebody that called in that said that they were into somebody that had accidentally murdered someone.
It was her ex-boyfriend accidentally murdered someone. Take in mind, get ready. So this accidental murder, he's a good Christian boy. So that's just FYI. So she kept reiterating the caller that he was a really good Christian boy and that he she found out through they had broken up already, and she hadn't heard about him in a while, but then she heard from his mom, who was like, you should go check his Facebook, when she asked her at the grocery store, like, how is he? So she checked his Facebook, but he doesn't have a Facebook, it's his wife's Facebook. So she checked his wife's Facebook, and through the Facebook status, she found that he had accidentally murdered someone and was serving time. He's been convicted, is in jail. Like, he's been charged guilty for accidental murders, also her term, not the jury didn't rule that it was an accident.
Yeah. Wow.
Then she was like, should I reach out to him? Like, I just feel like this connection to him. Like, I really feel like I just like, what do I do? Like, how do I get back in contact with him? And then, I mean, what we didn't say it's safe to say she doesn't fucking listen to the episode anymore, but like what we did, like fetish for murder. I was like, that's all this is. Like, it was insane. So what the fuck is this one about?
Well, just listen.
Hi, Megan and Mel. So I'm sending this message because I'm currently watching the most recent episode with Arden Rose. And someone called in to give their own advice about the girl whose ex killed someone. And you were super excited thinking that maybe they were in the same situation, but it turned out that they wasn't. So I have an ex-boyfriend that murdered someone. A long, long time ago, we were together. So I'm 32 now, and I was maybe 15, 16, I think, when we were together. And then when I was around, I think 20 years old, I was working in Italy, and I got a phone call from like all of my family and my best friend telling me that he had been sent to prison for murdering an old lady. And he subsequently killed himself. But this girl that's thinking of reconnecting with her ex, like, come on, get a grip. I'm sorry, I know I'm harsh, but the dude fucking killed someone, for Christ's sake. Like, walk away, walk far away. You don't want anything to do with someone like that. Like, hello, get some reality, because that's just insane. I am so fucking happy that, well, my ex didn't kill me, for example, and I managed to, escape that one. Like, stay away. Come on. Anyway, that's my thing. And I thought you'd like to hear from someone who actually was kind of in the same situation. Have a good day. Love the podcast. Love your videos. Bye.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So the original call was in the episode with Nikki Lemos. And so this caller is responding to another caller's advice.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
I mean, this is so mean, but I'm like, you literally dodged a bullet.
Like an actual bullet.
Yeah. Like,
or the back of
totally
a gun.
Intended.
Or a candlestick in the foyer. Like, you dodged a lot. I've made that joke so many times this week. It's my go-to. Holy shit.
Wow.
Does it make you, do you think anyone that you've ever dated could have killed somebody?
Yeah, there's a good chance of, I was in a really abusive psycho relationship with a sociopath. Like, he's a legit actual sociopath. And I remember near the end, he told me he had a gun. And I was like, what the fuck have you been, and he is kind of like, he was a loose fucking cannon. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's something he's done out there.
I think it's so crazy though. Like, the amount of, like, I've told so many friends about this episode and we've talked about it, and almost all of my friends have somebody that they've dated that they're like, oh, I definitely have this guy that I dated that could. And I'm like, God. And it always is happening like in the young 20s.
Oh, always.
And I'm like, God, what the fuck were we all doing?
I remember this crazy ex, he actually said to me, this is when I was like, okay, I think there's something up. He said to me, there's that song, the Eminem and Rihanna song that came out.
Love the Way You Lie.
Yes. And so he goes, you know that song? And it says, if you ever tried to walk out again, I'd tie you to this bed and set this house on fire. He's like, that's how I feel with you. And I was like,
romantic.
That's literally what I said. Goodbye. I was like, that's romantic. But he was like in my house at the time. So I was like, God. And like, just super like, don't fucking instigate this person right now. But like, I had to come up with a whole plan to get myself out of that relationship because he was psycho.
Oh, that's always how it happens. Yeah. The whole like, now you have to like let all your friends know this is the plan. God. We're all on this.
Yeah. But don't go back. Oh my God. No. It's just attraction. It's just fucking lust to go get some fucking dick somewhere else or vagina, whatever you're into. Look, this person murdered somebody. We're not here to say, that's like for a court of law to say if good or bad person. Okay, that's not what we're here contending. It's that you can like somebody and not be with them.
Oh, yeah.
You can even love somebody and not be with them.
Watch the Ted Bundy movie.
Exactly. You're like, all right, just see the person for what they are, and you could still love them from afar if you still are like trying to go that route.
Or
like,
join a cult.
I can't get over the love.
You know, like
do
something else. Not that you should join a cult.
do not join a cult.
No, but I mean, like at that point,
rock climbing. Go do another activity that expends some of that energy that's clearly in you.
I more mean join a cult in the sense of being like, no, they would not join a cult. Like, would you join a cult? Do you know what I mean? Like,
be obsessed.
Yes, yeah, like
I
if
do,
there's a
but
level
I just
of,
have to.
I know, don't join a cult. But I mean, like, if you're making this guy the exception, like, would you date any other? Like, don't make him the exception. Like, would you join a cult where like you're cool with someone murder, like something like that? Like, pick these other things that are in the same field. Like, would you do that? Like, why are you making an exception for like this one fuckboy from like when you were 16?
I mean, I also don't want to get too deep about it, but like, maybe there's something that you need to discuss.
Oh, that was our entire one.
Or definitely, talk to a therapist.
I was like, you got issues.
Like,
you need to go to therapy. I go to therapy twice a week. You need to go to therapy.
I go once a week. I love it.
Oh, wow. What a time.
Crazy.
Well, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Promo your shit.
Oh my God. Thank you. First, how fucking awesome are you guys?
Oh my
I love
God.
you.
You're
awesome.
Oh my God. No, you're fantastic. We have to have you back on.
Yes,
this was so
please.
great.
No, you have to come on.
Oh my God. I love talking. Clearly.
You can follow me at Natasha Chandel on Instagram. And the podcast is Kinda Dating across the board, wherever you get your podcasts. And we're at Kinda Dating on all social media.
Hell yeah.
And for international people, we have kindadating.com now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the
international. We love all the internationals. Well, if you guys enjoyed this podcast and you liked it, rate us. We are everywhere. We can find where else we are on don'tblameme.show. And then if you want to call in for an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. And international listeners, you can email us an audio file at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram, Don't Blame Meme Pod. And our Patreon has released. Check it out. Join the team. Join the club. It's like a cool cult, but it's not a cult because like it's way more fun.
Cult. It's a group. It's a group.
I know. I just read an article about cults. Can you tell?
Yeah.
My BuzzFeed has really been catered to me. Also, my BuzzFeed homepage is currently in French, so there's only a few. Like I just go based on pictures right now. So that's what I've been doing. Check it out there. It's a fun time. Lots of chats. Lots of exclusive stuff. So much exclusive clips. So a lot of stuff even from this episode that you guys have missed out on. So and we'll see you guys next week. Goodbye. Don't Blame Me is a production by me. Executive produced by Melissa DeMonts. Camera operator Amanda Lechner. Production assistance by Julie Carley. And music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso, part of the HerPod Network.
Listening to a podcast should be time well spent, and I promise it will be if you'll give this podcast a try. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in every episode, I talk with leading experts on topics I know you will find fascinating. From why people can't keep secrets, what your favorite music says about you, why your pet acts in strange ways, and so much more. Something You Should Know is designed to give you information you can use in your life and give you great intel that you can share with others. I'm told it's a binge-worthy podcast. And with over 1,000 episodes, there's a lot to binge on. Something You Should Know has been ranked in the top of the Apple Podcast charts consistently for a long time. I know you're going to like this. I just need to get you to try it. Something You Should Know. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go Network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. Positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors, including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go Network by listening today. Look for the Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, are you ready for some real talk and some fantastic laughs? Join me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa D. Wants, for Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong?
We're serving up 4 hilarious shows every week designed to entertain and engage and, possibly enrage you.
In Don't Blame Me, we dive deep into listeners' questions, offering advice that's funny, relatable, and real.
Whether you're dealing with relationship drama or you just need a friend's perspective, we've got you.
Then switch gears with But Am I Wrong, which is for listeners who didn't take our advice and want to know if they are the villains in the situation.
Plus, we share our hot takes on current events and present situations that we might even be wrong in our lives. Spoiler alert, we are actually quite literally never wrong.
But wait, there's more. Check out See You Next Tuesday, where we reveal the juicy results from our listener polls from But Am I Wrong?
And don't miss Fisting Friday, where we catch up, chat about pop culture, TV, and movies. It's the perfect way to kick off your weekend.
So if you're looking for a podcast that feels like a chat with your besties, listen to Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.